Good morning. We're excited to have you here with us. This is a virtual breakfast. So take this opportunity, grab a carb of your choice, along with a cup of coffee, a mug of tea, maybe hot cocoa or a glass of juice, and make yourself comfortable.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Julie Brecky, and I'm the Executive Director at Hired. Hired is a nonprofit organization that works across the Twin Cities, helping people overcome barriers and assemble the skills they need to get a job and build a career. Hired works with everyone from opportunity youth to older workers to under and unemployed individuals, people with criminal histories, immigrants, and everyone in between. 70% of the people that we work with are people of color. We're excited at this moment in time that we'll have a chance to address the persistent racial disparities in the Twin Cities community. This is not about getting back to normal. It's about doing better and different and building an inclusive and equitable recovery.
We've been there through the ups and downs in the economy, and we have the ability to scale and be that reliable resource for employers, for families, for participants, and for our community. We help people build confidence and skills and help people figure out how to make it through a tough situation and make the most of their skills to stabilize their families.
Across all programs at Hired last year, our average wage at placement was over $22 an hour. That's a family sustaining wage, and we consider that someone getting their foot in the door so they can build a strong career with their employer. On an annual basis, Hired works with about 6,000 individuals, many of whom are low income and unfortunately are disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The last 52 years of experience that Hired has as a workforce development nonprofit is situating us perfectly to be a tremendous asset to the Twin Cities as we get past and through the pandemic and turn to a new economy. Tomorrow's economy is forever changed. We know that the jobs that people have been laid off from will probably not come back in that same format. We have a terrific opportunity here at Hired to be working with the people with the most employment barriers to help them assemble the skills and get a better paying job.
We have a chance to actually address the persistent employment barriers for people of color in our community. We have a chance to be even more intentional about building an inclusive economic recovery. We have an opportunity to help those people who are living paycheck to paycheck to be more planful and assemble the skills they need to be able to secure a job, build a career, and support their family in building a bright and stable future.
Hi, this is Tony Carter, Ramsey County Commissioner, Chair of the County Board, here with a message for Hired and all of its supportive community. We are so grateful that the work that Hired is prepared to do is available for our community at this time while we are enduring and hopefully recovering soon from the greatest pandemic of our time. So many among us need help to keep roofs over their heads, food on their table, and importantly also to find access to the type of training that they will need to move on to the work of the future, which has suddenly arrived today.
Hi, this is Steve Kramer. I'm the president and CEO of the Minneapolis Downtown Council. These are very uncertain times for all of us. It's an unbelievable, unprecedented situation that we're dealing with, trying to do our best as a community and as individuals with our families and our work colleagues. But I think two things we can be quite certain of. One, the impact of COVID-19, the pandemic, will be felt most acutely by the individuals that hired targets for services and helps do the best that they can possibly do in their lives. Second, as we continue to evolve through the pandemic and settle into whatever the new normal or the new baseline is whenever that occurs, the services that Hired provides will be more important than ever. So despite all the uncertainty, those two things we can be sure of.
Hired is a trusted service provider. We have a great reputation for being a reliable resource for participants, helping them meet their basic needs so they can focus on training and actually skill up and train for new jobs in the new economy. We're out in the community. We meet people where they're at.
In fall 2019, I had some issues with my job and I was looking for some more work-home balance. And I saw on social media that Hired had a medical call center training class. And I have experience in emergency care and critical care, so I felt like this was perfect for me. Not only did I learn a lot about the new skill set to obtain this new job, and you just get nothing but support, whether that's financial, emotionally, they'll give you a lending ear, they will find a way. In working in healthcare and with this COVID-19 pandemic, we never know what tomorrow will bring. It's always going to be a new day. And it really shines a different light on the meaning of being present and living for today. We'll be better one day. It might not be tomorrow or the next, but it will be better. And that brings me hope.
I worked for my last company for 22 years, and I was laid off at the end of the year. I have been, as a hobby, embroidering for the last 18 years. And I decided that this is my opportunity to make my dream of digitizing designs. I was chosen to go to this class by Hired. I learned in this class how to search for jobs, how important networking was. Resumes are not the same today as they were 22 years ago when I last wrote a resume. I was getting requests for face masks. One of the requests was from a friend. His sister was a hospice nurse. And she explained to me that most hospice patients are in nursing homes. And nursing homes are all locked down, no visitors. But if a hospice patient has 72 hours or less to live, they're allowed to have immediate family visit, but they need a face mask. This has changed my life. I have made face masks for people. They are so appreciative. They were able to be with their mom, one lady, so she didn't have to die alone. They were able to say their goodbyes. What makes me hopeful is the Hired program is there. They support me. They believe in me. I know Hired's gonna need to help a lot of people because of this virus, and so I hope you support them.
Last year was kind of like my breaking point. I was just like giving up on a lot of stuff, and then when Hired and then Terrell came around, it like made me more motivated. Now I'm more motivated to get back to what my whole passion is. So yeah, I really have found a passion to work with kids, really, because my troubled youth, and I know how important it is to like have somebody that actually cares. Right now I work as a PCA, which is a personal care assistant, for the REM program in Ramsey County. All that was due to the connections I made at Hired, and I know Terrell's gonna see this, so All right. In reality, I can't put it in words, the stuff that he's done. From bringing me food when I didn't have any food to helping with gas or Target gift cards. Any little thing that he could do or allowed him to do, he exceeded those limits. I couldn't even, thank you isn't even enough, because, and I tell him that every time I see him, thank you isn't enough, because Hired gave him, the ropes to even do those things for us. Not just me, us as a community.
I've always known how dedicated Julie and the team at Hired are to serving the community, but it's become even more apparent with everything going on, just seeing how hard they're working and how quickly they're adapting to be able to continue to serve the community, but also to do so in more ways. They want to be a constant resource for those that they're serving, not just for workforce development, but really in many aspects of life, in many ways that people are looking for support right now. And Hired is stepping up to be that resource for people, which is so inspiring.
I'm really proud of Hired staff at this moment in time. We've moved from our place-based service delivery model to this incredibly nimble and agile service delivery model that's virtual. They've migrated to virtual platforms. We've moved some of our workshops to be interactive on Zoom. And we've done all sorts of things in service delivery that looks really different, and it's really meeting the unique needs of our participants. We're living our mission of being here to help people, to be successful, to earn family-sustaining wages, and have a hopeful, stable future. That's more important than ever before as we are embarking and living these really uncertain times in COVID-19.
We already work with clients that are, have barriers. This has just produced some more. And as we move through the pandemic, I feel like Hired is really, on the front line of identifying what the inequities are, and then, pivoting to kind of cut them off. I can honestly say that, we may not have, all of the solution for everyone, but we are certainly, kind of leading the charge by being innovative and identifying that things are going to change rapidly. We do an amazing job of saying, how can we help? And that really is what sets Hired apart. How can we help? And we might not always have the answer instantaneously, but we will find it, and we will make it work for you.
So I think it's our responsibility, as well as it's a huge privilege to be able to support people and to try and make the world a genuinely better place. Now we have a heightened opportunity to do that, and I think heightened responsibility to do that in our youth programming. We really do, in a lot of ways, become like parent figures or mentors for the young men and women we work with. Having this space and this gap it could have been a loss, but I think we've risen to the challenge to make sure that this opportunity to really connect in new ways doesn't go to waste. So I think that Hired will rise to the occasion like we always have, and will really find creative and innovative ways to do equity work on a personal level.
So I think the most important thing that Hired does and continues to do is be adaptive. It's because the population that we work with are survivor based, so therefore they are adapting each and every day. If you have the heart to do the work, you're going to be creative. Even the sometimes the curbside stuff that I do and some of my colleagues and partners do, setting something out on the curb and taking the picture, saying, hey, how you doing? Getting the job done. So with Hired, I believe that the program or the steps that we have are based on the individual's need. So if it's inequality, and if it's different things, disparities and things of that nature, we are speaking directly to that. It hasn't been swept under the rug. We can't sweep things under the rug if that's the population that we're dealing with. So if we have an honest conversation, recognizing, but then we have action steps. Where others, agencies or organizations would call this going above and beyond, I think this is standard for Hired.
The biggest thing that we're doing though is that we're altering how we approach our clients, and it's less about business always, but more about how are you doing. So we're approaching it more from how are they doing as an individual, not how are they doing in their job search. But really we want to make sure that people are okay and that they feel supported with what we're offering to them from Hired. I guess that's one thing that we've realized is that we're all connected and that this affects all of us in different ways. So we want to make sure that we're offering the type of service that we would essentially want to receive.
Even with COVID, our infant families are working. They are still very interested in pursuing higher education and training, and are wanting to improve their digital literacy. So that desire for the family hasn't changed. I think that COVID-19 has kind of like put a little bit of a hurdle for us, but I think that once our goal is like, okay, let's get them situated, let's get back on track about your career goals. We are still getting people to work. So I've been really impressed with the staff.
This is what Hired does, even in good times and now like a challenging time, is to help folks that are disconnected from work, get back to work. This is the skill set of this organization and has been and will continue to be more now than ever. Workforce development is something that I think we should be putting our dollars into. I really do feel like I am the result of workforce development programs. My mother refined her skills and really brought some security emotionally and financially to our home. And I certainly am a result of that work and that mission that Hired has.
There have been historic barriers to employment for the people we work with. We need your support more than ever before. The need is extreme. We can turn your support into tangible hope for the families that we work with, who are ready, eager, motivated to be a part of the future economy, and we need your partnership to make that happen.
We are certainly navigating unprecedented times that will require proven and tested leadership as we come together to rebuild our economy and put people back to work. And that's where Hired comes in. For over 50 years, Hired has been in the business of helping people navigate their own unprecedented times. And we're going to need Hired now more than ever. As we enter into our recovery, we will be met with a new economy. An economy that will rely even more heavily on 21st century jobs. An economy that will require even greater emphasis on advancing equity and inclusion. An economy that will need Hired even more. I am hopeful for the future that we will build together and grateful that we have an organization like Hired to help us navigate these unprecedented times.
Thank you to Hired for your preparation, for your experience and skills, and especially for your compassion for all of our community at this time. We look forward to recovering from COVID-19 together.
I will continue to be a Hired supporter as I have been for many years, and I hope you will be as well, because again, the work that they do will just be so essential to help our community, all of us, recover and move into a brighter future than the situation that we're dealing with right now through the pandemic. So thank you very much.
I am here today to ask you to invest in Hired for such a time as this. You see, this pandemic to North Minneapolis threatens to be what Hurricane Katrina was to Louisiana. You know, whenever our economy takes a tailspin, people of color in low-income communities are just impacted the most. Hired is poised to support, and they've been doing it, to support us right now in addressing this health and economic crisis. It has been making a huge difference, and it will be critical in these weeks and months to come as we continue to deal with the impact of this pandemic. I gotta tell you, we have no idea where we're headed as a community, but what we do know for sure is that we are stronger together. And I can't think of a partner that is more necessary to be on the ground during this health and economic crisis than Hired. Please invest in them. We need them. Our community needs them. Thank you.
I'm what you call a serial optimist.
What makes me hopeful in times like these? I think it is really the potential that we are seeing in the human spirit collectively in our community right now. The compassion, the ingenuity, the creativity.
I'm impressed with the incredible generosity of the Minnesotan people.
That's what humanity is all about. It's not about the class, the money, the idea. It's about the action.
One thing that makes me hopeful is just how quick everyone at Hired has been able to change, how quick we were able to move our programs online, how quick we were all able to make sure our families that we work with, everyone is still being provided great service, but being safe.
The world's really chaotic and we can't even see each other face to face. And so I've just found it absolutely wonderful to see and hear about the creativity and the resourcefulness of our staff and of our clients just to make things work right now.
I believe that we're not only going to get through this, but we're going to come out on the other side even better because of our collective commitment and our willingness to evolve.
I'm a firm believer that if you have hope, hope is all you need, and hope will get you through.
We will get through this coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19. Whomever of us are fortunate to be around those later days, weeks, and months to come will live to retell the story, and I hope to be one of them.
This will just make our community that much stronger.
And I'd like to start by giving a huge shout out to the youth counselors. They have done an amazing job. They haven't given up on their youth in one iota. They keep in contact with them. They FaceTime, they Zoom. They've done curbside deliveries of food and hygiene products.
The kindness and support we all are giving to our friends, our families, and our communities is really an amazing thing. People are willing to be more vulnerable, asking for help, and we're all coming together to support one another as quickly as possible.
Just that level of empathy that is going on, that's in the air right now, is a great thing, and I'm hopeful that that level of empathy sticks around.